Hi, I'm Sandy Duncan. As a psychic medium, I have a question. You see a lot of different mediums doing a lot of hard work right now, world events, pulling cards. It's hectic. What I'm liking to do here today is actually ask a couple of questions. Maybe this has happened to you. It's my opinion, based on years of hard work, that intuitive people, mediums, psychics, intuitive people in general, exist in three different timelines: a little bit in the past, a lot of in the future, and the rest of it right now. So if an empath walks in to an unusual space or a space they've been to many, many times before, they can suddenly get emotional. They can get fear. They can get anger. They can want to cry. They've never been there before. These emotions are so out of context. I've done some thinking about it and done some meditating about it too. And what comes up is sensitive people exist in three different timelines. I'd be curious to hear what you think about that. Maybe that's you. Maybe you don't know you're intuitive, but you kind of have an inkling. You can see the irony. I think if you're a parent, you're already most of the way there because your child will have been communicating with you without words, without knowing the language since they were born. And you will intuitively know what they need, what they want, and they will tell you without knowing the language, without knowing the rules. Kids are kids. They're as honest as dogs. So I think intuitive people exist in three different timelines many, many times. If I see spirit or if I'm doing a reading or pulling cards, and the card readers out there will know, you kind of have a sense of what card is coming or what the feeling of the next card is going to be. But as a new intuitive person, if you're just coming along to this and saying, I wonder if I'm intuitive, you probably are. But I think that's a really good way to tell, to be able to tell what you're feeling. And so you don't feel like an outcast. You don't feel like you're way different than everybody else. You might be, but you have to know that there are millions of other people out there just like you. When I was really young, I got to see spirit. I first memories are probably when I was 3 or 4 years old. And it wasn't encouraged in my house. Actually, it was pretty discouraged. By the time I was about 12, I saw my grandfather on the day of his funeral, but I wasn't at his funeral. And I happened to tell my mom, who was not too pleased. Wrong day, wrong time, wrong message. I didn't know how to discern back then. Later, I learned it's not always a good thing to say what you see, hear, feel, sense, smell, whatever. Kind of got to know your audience. I wasn't being very helpful, but I was being an honest 12-year-old. After that, spirit wouldn't leave me alone. It's a bit like the movie Ghost Town, if you've ever seen that with Ricky Gervais. The plot is he's a dentist who hates everybody. He has a mishap during an operation where he dies, as they say, a little bit. Then he comes back to life. When he comes back to life, he can see spirit. And then his life is pure hell because all the spirits know that he can see them and they want help. They want him to deliver messages so that they can cross over. Now that I've ruined the plot for you, but I'm leaving a lot out. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it might be your story. It was certainly mine. And also, I'm not really sure that anybody thinks as a little kid or when they get older, I'm going to walk around and see spirit. I'm going to hear messages from them and I'm going to help people. I think it's a very noble thing to do. It's a very brave thing to do. But again, it's always existed. So I think these things choose us, perhaps more than we choose them. It's not to say you can't learn. I certainly took years of school and years of lessons and then ended up teaching. So it can come full circle. My mission on this channel is to sort of not debunk, but explain. Explain things that people might be feeling out there as the tensions of the world kind of are ramping up. If that's what you follow, then our senses and our ability to trust them, trust our intuition, is going to become more important than ever. So identifying these things are only going to serve you well in the future. You know, I've had it taught to me, what's the best way you can recall your favorite movie? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you sense it? All of the five clairs. I'm clairvoyant, which means I can see. If you've worked with me before, you understand this. I will see spirit. I will describe to you what I can see. And then that's how they get their message across. Some people can hear, they're clairaudient, or they can sense, they're clairsentient. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So identify what hits you best and then go with that. I've had people say, boy, I wish I was clairvoyant, I wish I could see. Meanwhile, they can sense, they can smell, they can know, they're cognizant. And then the first time they do see, it scares the pants off them. So then they kind of wish they didn't. And quite often they never do again. Fear is a great motivator for never doing things the same way again. And that happens all the time. So thanks for joining me on this channel. We're just going to do a little bit of a snippet of what it's like to be intuitive, what it's like to be a medium, what I faced, and maybe you're facing too. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.